Hi everyone, for my ARP, I explored orangutan habitats in Indonesia. And my question was, given the destruction of orangutan habitats in Indonesia caused by the palm oil industry, what can be done to make for sustainable production and safe habitats? Orangutan habitat destruction begins in our own households, with our pantries stocked with snacks, the makeup on our vanities, and the laundry detergent we use to wash our clothes. What do they all have in common? They most likely contain palm oil. Found in 50% of packaged goods, the rapidly growing industry was estimated to be worth 65.73 billion US dollars in 2015 and is expected to soon reach an astonishing 92.84 billion. The oil is popular among food brands because it has a long shelf life, is flavorless and odorless, and keeps good texture for cooking. Hidden behind a variety of names, Elias eugenius or palm oil is vegetable oil made from the fruits of the oil palm. It can be made by using two different techniques, either by squeezing the fruit or crushing its kernel. The first technique is known as crude palm oil, and the latter is kernel. The oil is harvested from the oil palm tree, which is native to West Africa but was brought to South Asia by European travelers in the 18th century, though it is still unclear why they decided to make this transition. The countries of South Asia are now the leading producers of its oil, with approximately 85% coming from Indonesia and Malaysia, though 42 other countries produce it as well. The problem with palm oil is it is also the leading cause of deforestation in the South Asian islands. Indonesia is the largest global producer of crude palm oil, which directly results in the country also having the highest annual forest loss. In 2017, 12 million hectares of land were cleared for the production of palm oil, an area equivalent to the size of North Korea. Deforestation poses multiple threats for the environment in the country, including habitat loss for some of the Earth's oldest species, such as the orangutan. This problem isn't new. According to International Wildlife, a 1993 survey by IUCN, the World Conservation Union, indicated that suitable orangutan habitat in Indonesia and Malaysia had declined by more than 80% in the past 20 years. This was a significant habitat decrease in the 1990s that has only increased in the past 2 decades due to palm oil plantation. Today, the demand for palm oil is even greater. According to the Orangutan Project, every hour, 300 football fields, a precious remaining forest, is being plowed to the ground across Southeast Asia to make way for palm oil plantations. With the lack of strong laws and high demand for cheap palm oil, there's nothing slowing down big palm oil corporations. The orangutan is a highly intelligent member of the great ape family that has 97% of its DNA in common with humans. In fact, with orang meaning person and hatan meaning forest, their name loosely translates to person of the forest in Malay. They can be found in the forests on the islands of Borneo and Sumatra, Indonesia, and in parts of Malaysia. They spend 97% of their time in trees swinging from branch to branch with their long, strong arms, which can reach a span of 7 feet. They are omnivores, so they love to enjoy lychees, mangosteens, figs, and even get their water from holes in the trees. Orangutans are intelligent and can memorize geography, allowing them to travel long distances to find these fruits. Much like humans, orangutans have to learn everything from their mother, so when an orangutan mother is killed by plantation workers, the young orphan is left without the skills needed to survive, like tree climbing and fruit eating. In the past decade, the orangutan population has decreased by 50%, and at least 80% of their habitat has been ruined or altered to some degree because of deforestation from palm oil plantations. The Bornean orangutan is considered endangered, with around 5,000 being killed due to human activities every year, while the Sumatran orangutan is critically endangered. With only 7,500 Sumatran, 104,700 Bornean, and 800 Hanelupi, the orangutans are only 10 years away from extinction. Without serious and immediate action, the species will soon be extinct.
Indonesian palm oil industry thrives off of enthusiastic Western companies searching for the cheapest ingredients for their packaged or fast foods, and the healthy properties of oil make it extremely desirable for consumers. Indonesia lacks the laws and the willpower to slow down production or even work towards sustainability, as the industry racks in billions. Although massive production provides jobs for Indonesians, plantations make their employees work in dangerous conditions with little access to clean water and pay little as well. Some plantations are said to have sought children from nearby towns to work without pay, unapologetically using child labor. As a consumer, our decisions determine what manufacturers use in their products. If consumers demand sustainable palm oil or a vegetable oil substitute, manufacturers will deliver. If we grocery shop with the conscience and our morals in mind, we can make a difference. Orangutans are not the only animals on the island of Sumatra that are affected by our eating habits in Indonesia or in the world. In fact, the Sumatra tigers, rhinos, and elephants are also endangered because of deforestation and also poaching. Indonesia and Malaysia are not the only countries suffering. Brazil is considered the biggest beef exporter, and the industry has taken its toll on the Amazon forest. In August 2019, the Amazon experienced some of the worst forest fires to date, when farmers intentionally started fires to clear pasture land for their cattle. Many people began eating less red meat in response, with creative initiatives such as Meatless Monday, which encourages people to eat vegetarian on Mondays, whether that be all day or just for dinner, in an attempt to reduce meat consumption in the United States. I was also inspired, and I cut meat out of my diet altogether, and I promise it was much easier than I ever thought it would be. As a consumer, it is very difficult to avoid palm oil, so I began my research with what companies were doing to avoid using palm oil in their products. I was very disappointed to see that many companies were failing out of their 2020 commitments under the Consumer Goods Forum that they made in 2010 to reduce deforestation to net zero. These companies, many of which are household names such as General Mills, Yoplait, Kellogg's, and Haagen-Dazs, promised to stop using conflict oil, which is any palm oil that has caused deforestation, decrease in animal habitats, or poor labor conditions. Despite these promises, 41 countries failed to respond to the survey, and those that had bothered showed negative results on the annual scorecard, with only 15 out of 173 companies performing well. The World Wildlife Foundation awarded points for those who responded to the survey and showed they were doing well phasing out palm oil. They scored them out of 22 points, but the Italian company Ferrero was the only company that scored above 20 points. Although this did not show much progress, the World Wildlife Foundation Palm Oil Buyers Scorecard did have hopeful news that 117 companies have made a commitment to transition to 100% RSPO, Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, certified palm oil by 2020, and that 78 claimed that they were already using 100% RSPO certified palm oil based on 2018 purchasing data. Despite this, more needs to be done to make real consequences if a company fails its commitments or requirement, or they will continue to pick the cheaper option or unsustainable option every time.
Deforestation and degradation is not only lethal to native animals in Indonesia, but also to the climate. In fact, deforestation is the cause for 10% of greenhouse gas emissions worldwide. In order to reduce deforestation, the United Nations created REDD. REDD stands for Reduce Emissions from Deforestation and Forest Degradation. The program launched in 2008 to encourage countries to reduce forest destruction by offering payments for reducing carbon emissions from deforestation. The UN REDD program supports this while also encouraging stakeholders, which are partner countries, donors, civil society organizations, and indigenous people, to participate. REDD Plus is also another side of the program, which includes conservation, forest management, and forest carbon stocks, which is considered the amount of carbon that has been sequestered from the atmosphere and is now stored within the forest ecosystem. Rainforests also store carbon through a process called carbon sequestration that is defined by Encyclopedia Britannica as the long-term storage of carbon in plant soils, geological formations, and the ocean. These reservoirs are called carbon sinks and absorb naturally produced carbon dioxide as well as carbon dioxide produced by anthropogenic activities. Trees and forests are an example of carbon sinks, but they can also be a form of carbon emission when they are cut down or die and decompose. The process of carbon sequestration is essential for a healthy environment, with terrestrial ecosystems sequestering about 2.6 gigatons, with 1 gigaton being a billion tons of carbon per year. When they are burned for palm oil plantation expansions, they release up to 3 to 4 billion tons of CO2 into the atmosphere.
In August 2018, Greenpeace created a 90-second ad for their campaign against palm oil-related deforestation. The animated commercial featured a young girl who finds an orangutan in her bedroom. At first, she is annoyed that the orangutan is creating a mess in her room until she learns that he is an orphan whose mother died when the palm oil plantations began cutting down the forest that is their home. The little girl is then inspired to make a difference and save the orangutan. The British food brand Iceland planned to broadcast the commercial on TV until it was deemed too political for British TV. Well, I believe it's time to get political. I encourage you to be inspired, just like the little girl in the commercial, and write politicians and ask them what are they doing to push forward mandatory palm oil labeling for all packaged goods that contain it. This will make it much easier for shoppers to make informed decisions on whether or not they buy something containing the oil. Although deforestation in Indonesia is expansive, with enough attention towards the issue, things can begin to change. If enough people use their voices to advocate for the orangutans, manufacturers will have to listen. You could even adopt an orangutan from organizations like the World Wildlife Foundation. They will send you a certificate, a picture of the orangutan, and a plush toy if you splurge for the biggest package. And they'll give you constant updates from the sanctuary. I was gifted Monty, the orangutan, for my birthday last year, and it was one of the most amazing, meaningful gifts I've ever received. Finally, many of the resources I've talked about are available on my project website, including the World Wildlife Foundation Palm Oil Buyer's Scorecard, so you can find out if your favorite brands are using palm oil that is certified or not. Thank you.